Hey, welcome to Shift. I'm Elliot, and I am so glad you're hanging out with me today. If you're new here, this is the podcast where we stop looking for massive, life-altering overhauls and start looking for the shortcut keys. Those tiny, repeated actions on a keyboard that save you hours of frustration. We're taking those digital concepts and applying them to the beautiful, messy, sometimes sticky reality of real life. And speaking of sticky, let me tell you about my morning. I was standing in my kitchen, staring at a pile of pancake batter that looked more like gray cement than breakfast. My 5-year-old, Clara, was looking at me with this heartbreakingly polite face, and my 3-year-old, Lucy, was currently trying to see if a blueberry would fit inside her nostril. Spoiler, it does, and it's a whole thing. I was trying to make organic, gluten-free, sugar-free, joy-free pancakes from a recipe I'd invented in my head because I wanted to be original. I wanted to be the innovative dad. Halfway through the smoke alarm going off, I realized, Elliot, what are you doing? Your sister sent you her foolproof recipe 3 weeks ago. Why are you trying to reinvent the wheel when the blueprint is sitting right there in your inbox? I wiped the batter off my forehead, opened the email, followed her steps exactly, and 10 minutes later, perfect pancakes. Happy kids. No more nasal fruit exploration. That moment is exactly what we're talking about today. Today's shortcut is Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V, copy and paste. We're diving into why you need to stop trying to be a pioneer in every single area of your life and start learning how to adapt what already works. So let's look at the tech for a second. Ctrl-C is copy. It takes information, text, an image, a file, and puts it into a temporary storage space called the clipboard. Then Ctrl-V, paste, takes that exact same information and drops it wherever you want. It's arguably the most used shortcut in human history. Imagine if you had to retype every email address, every long paragraph, or every line of code from scratch every single time. It would be a nightmare. It's a tool for efficiency. It's about taking something that already exists and moving it into a new context to save time and brain power. In life, we often have this weird pride. We think that for our growth to be authentic, it has to be 100% original. We think we have to figure out our own workout routine, our own parenting style, our own career path, and our own way of managing stress, all by ourselves. But here's the shift. Life is an open book test. Using Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V in life isn't about being a copycat or lacking creativity. It's about modeling. It's about looking at someone who is already where you want to be, whether that's a calm parent, a successful freelancer, or just someone who seems to have a really peaceful morning routine, copying their source code and pasting it into your own life to see if it fits. Let's get into the meat of this. The first point I want to hit is that originality is overrated when it comes to basic survival and growth. Think about it. When I was a freelance tech writer, I spent years trying to design my own perfect invoice template. I'd spend hours moving boxes around in Word, trying to make it look unique. One day, my mentor of mine looked at it and said, "Elliot, why are you wasting 3 hours on a layout? Just use the industry standard template. Copy what the pros use so you can spend those 3 hours actually writing." He was right. I was so focused on being different that I was failing at being productive. In our personal lives, we do this with our habits. We think we need to find ourselves by wandering in the woods. And hey, wandering is great. But if you want to get fit, you don't need to invent a new way to move your body. You need to Ctrl-C the habits of someone who is already fit. There's a great quote often attributed to Picasso: "Good artists borrow, great artists steal." In the world of personal growth, stealing just means realizing that you don't have to experience every failure yourself to learn a lesson. You can copy the successes of others and bypass the struggle. Now, here's the catch, and this is where most people get copy-paste wrong. When you paste text into a new document, sometimes the formatting looks a little funky, right? The font is too big or it's in bold when it shouldn't be. You have to edit it to make it fit the new page. Life is exactly the same. When Lucy, my youngest, was born, Clara was already 2. I thought, I've got this. I'll just Ctrl-C the exact sleep schedule we used for Clara and Ctrl-V it onto Lucy. It was a disaster. Clara was a kid who needed silence and a specific rhythmic rocking. Lucy apparently wanted to live in a room that sounded like a heavy metal concert and refused to be rocked. If I had just kept blindly pasting Clara's routine onto Lucy, I would have lost my mind. I had to take the principle of the routine, consistency, a wind-down period, white noise, but edit the execution. When you look at a guru or a friend who has a 5 a.m. miracle morning, don't just blindly Control-V that into your life if you have a newborn or you work the night shift. You'll crash and burn, and then you'll feel like a failure. The shortcut isn't just copy-paste, it's copy, paste, and edit. Take the essence of what works for them and edit the font until it looks right in your life. This is a big one. Often when we try to copy someone, we copy the wrong thing. We copy the outfit, the car, or the app they use. But the real source code is their mindset. I remember being really envious of a colleague of mine, Sarah. She was always so calm during high-pressure meetings. I tried to copy her by buying the same brand of notebooks she used and drinking the same tea. Surprise, surprise, I was still stressed, just with better stationery and a burnt tongue. I finally asked her, "Sarah, how are you so chill when the boss is yelling?" She told me that before each meeting, she asks herself one question. In 5 years, will this specific 5 minutes matter? That was the code. I didn't need her tea, I needed her internal shortcut. I started copying that question and pasting it into my brain whenever Clara would draw on the walls with a Sharpie. In 5 years, will this matter? No, the wall can be repainted. My relationship with her matters more. Control-V that perspective. It's way more effective than buying a new notebook. Here's something we almost never do. We forget to copy ourselves. Think about a time in your life when you were really on it. Maybe you were training for a 5K, or you were killing it at a previous job, or you just felt really connected to your partner. What were you doing then that you're not doing now? We often treat our past successes like a different person's life, but you already own that data. You have the files. A few months ago, I was feeling really sluggish and disconnected. I looked back at my journals from 2 years ago. Back then, I was doing this tiny thing. I'd go for a 10-minute walk the second I woke up. No phone, just air. Somewhere along the way, I had stopped. I had deleted that code. I decided to Control-C that version of Elliot. I didn't need a new wellness hack from TikTok. I just needed to paste a habit I already knew worked for my specific chemistry. Your past self is the best mentor you'll ever have because that person has your exact same DNA and your exact same life constraints. Go back into your archives and see what's worth pasting into today. All right, let's get practical. How do we actually use Control-C and Control-V this week without feeling like a fraud? Number 1, find your source code mentor. Pick one area of your life where you're struggling. Is it fitness, parenting, managing your inbox? Find one person, either a friend you know or a creator you trust, who does it 10% better than you. Don't look for perfection, look for better. Number 2, ask for the template. If it's a friend, literally ask them, "Hey, I love how you handle your meal prep. Can I copy your system?" Most people are incredibly flattered when you want to model them. If it's a stranger or a public figure, look for the underlying principle of what they do, not just the surface-level stuff. Number 3, the paste and edit rule. When you try a new habit or a new way of thinking, give it a 3-day trial. Paste it exactly as it is for 3 days. On day 4, look at the formatting. Is it clashing with your reality? If it is, don't delete it, edit it. If a 60-minute workout is too much, edit it to 15. The goal is to make it yours. Number 4, check your own history. Look back at a time you were happy or productive. What was one small copyable thing you were doing then that you've let slip? Bring it back today. So, here's your challenge for the week. I call it the Borrowed Habit Challenge. I want you to find one person in your life whose energy or skill you admire. It could be the way your neighbor stays calm with their dogs, or how your coworker starts their emails. This week, I want you to shamelessly Ctrl-C one tiny thing they do. Maybe it's a specific phrase they use to set boundaries. Maybe it's the way they set their phone in another room during dinner. Copy it, paste it into your week, and see how it feels. You don't have to be the architect of every good idea in your life. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is just hit paste. Thanks so much for joining me today on Shift. I hope this gives you a little permission to stop stressing about being original and start focusing on being effective. If you found a shortcut in today's episode that you think a friend needs to hear, go ahead and Ctrl-C the link to this show and Ctrl-V it into their messages. See what I did there? I'm a dad. The puns are mandatory. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It really helps us reach more people who are just trying to navigate the chaos. Next time, we're talking about a key that I personally find very hard to press, the escape key. We're going to talk about how to take guilt-free breaks and why escaping isn't always a sign of weakness. Sometimes it's a requirement for survival. Until then, keep it light, keep it real, and remember, sometimes all you need is a little shift. I'm Elliot. I'll talk to you next time.